Your wife will love it, I think. And then we have a couple other things, and we'll wait in a minute. So, how did you like that song, Up and Away? Who remembers the 1960s? Who remembers 1967?
I wasn't born.
Some of you may not have been born then. And it was one of the most popular songs during that time. I love the words to that song. And it was, they got 4, just like there's 4 ministers here. Now, there were 4 Grammys that song achieved. And I love it, the 5th dimension. Isn't that amazing, a name? I mean, nowadays you would say, yeah, that would make sense, but that was a long time ago.
It was our centennial.
It was your centennial. What does that mean?
100 years.
100 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a big thing.
Really? I didn't know that. I wasn't here then. I was not here then. Then I was not here there. I'm new. All right, so I asked this song to be sung today because it is perfect for what we are going to be exploring this morning. What we're going to be doing, so it's wonderful. So when we go up, and away, when we go up and up, we have done, as we have done the past 2 weeks, and we move into a place of our absolute knowing of who we are. And the up that I'm talking about is really an inward journey. And as I said last week, in order to go up, if we don't go in, we go without. So up is very important, but it is metaphorical because we know that God is everywhere, powerfully present, everywhere, inside, all around us. So I often will look up, and maybe you do that as well, when you say thank you. Before, though, we launch into today's message, I have a gift that I would like to present to the one person who's ready to come up here and give me the 7 ups. Who can remember them? We've been talking the last 2 weeks about the 7 ups, which I'm not going to say. Who is brave enough to remember all of the 7 ups and receive a gift from our bookstore?
Linda.
They're all pointing to you, but she's not pointing to herself. Would you come up here and give us the 7 ups? On the microphone before the entire universe, you will stand. We'll help you. You can help her. Okay. Just go ahead.
Okay, I can do probably 5 for sure. So, listen up, lighten up, lift up, give it up, make it up.
Kick it up.
Kick it
Pick
up.
it up,
Live it up.
live it up.
Live it up. Look it
I
up.
got 5.
Look it up.
Live it up. I don't think live it up. Live it up is what it is.
Oh, I think it should be. It is now. Read the list, Linda.
Give it up.
Give it up.
I said live it up.
Said give it up. Okay, look at the list.
What we
Oh, I
should
didn't
add
look
in,
up.
maybe we should add number 10. We'll make it the 8 ups.
Yeah.
So it's look up, lift up, lighten up, make it up, give it up, kick it up, and start it up.
Oh. Start it up.
Present you with the award. She is she's not here anymore. No ups there. That she is the designer of the beautiful bookmarks that I shared with you last week. She puts them into the correct format for us. So I just wanted to, I forgot to say that last week, and I always want to acknowledge. So I thank you, Linda, for your gift of your time, love, and energy to us. I'm glad that you got our gift back to you. All right, so today we're going up, and we're going to go into a deeper place than we did last time. And then we are going to send away anything in your life that is holding you back from the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. So whatever, think about it for a moment before we go there, before I even talk about it. I want you to think about what is it that stands in the way of you achieving whatever it is your heart desires. What's in the way of that? Maybe you don't know. Anyone know what their stuff is?
Fear.
Some of us do, and so we're going to do a process today, a meditation in which we will go up, and away, and let that go. So just think about that as I'm sharing today's message. So as I already said, look up refers to realizing that the Spirit, this divine essence of God, is our source, the one and only source of all that is, all that was, and all that will ever be. And I know that up, even though I say up, that it is really all around and everywhere present in the universe upon universe upon universe. I love that. So as we look up metaphorically to God, to the source, there's a three parts to that. There is the creative or the divine urge. There is the divine process. And then there is the creation itself or the manifestation. So in Christian terms, we would call this the Holy Trinity. Who remembers the Holy Trinity? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or the whole of Spirit. And in science of mind, it is the creative urge, the divine urge. Who has a divine urge? Like you have something that calls you to be and imagine and vision, as in our vision class, something, the greatest possibility. What is God's idea of you? What is the divine idea of your life? It is that which calls us into the greater. And sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating. It can be bigger than we thought, right? Like there are some people who don't like to talk on a microphone. Anyone here feel uncomfortable being in front? Sheila, I don't think so.
Nice try.
Nice try. No. So whatever that is, maybe something calls you, and in the beginning, and that happened to me, something calls you and you think, oh my God, that is just huge. But there is something within us that gives us this urge, and then there is the divine law, the sacred law, and then there's the manifestation. So I love that, and in the Science of Mind textbook, you will find the first 3 chapters in Science of Mind are the thing itself, the way it works, and what it does. And this is about, there's actually 4 chapters, but those kind of sum it up. So it's the spirit, the soul, and the body, or the creative urge, the divine urge, and then the law, and then the manifestation. So we have those 3 parts. And I just love the words of Dr. Holmes today, where he says, Spirit is the Father, Mother, God. The Father, Mother, God. Say that a little bit differently. Let's say that together. The Father, Mother, God. It's masculine and feminine. For a lot of us ladies, when they say God is a man, how does that feel?
Really good. Really, Sandra really likes that.
Is that what she said?
I'm not being included.
Okay, and what about for you gentlemen when I say God is a woman? See, they're all shaking their heads. But you're all incorrect. It's both. God is the Father, Mother, God. It is all 3. It's the triune nature of God. And so we should think of God not only as a principle forever pushing forward its expressing through us, but as this divine essence, the Father, the Mother, the God, the feminine, and the masculine together as one. And it's also the first step of treatment to recognize, indeed, that there is one power, one presence, one life. And just saying that is amazing. I have a dear friend who is she flew back east because her mother is making her transition. And she called me last night. She said, I called you because I just really need prayer. I need treatment. So we did a full treatment, which is the 5 steps of treatment. And when I did the recognition step is what I'm talking about here. Just that alone, she said, oh, I'm already feeling better. Because her mother is in hospice and very gently but quickly leaving. And she just felt like she needed some reinforcement. So we did treatment, and she said that just the first step of treatment can get you there. Just to recognize that life is, that God is right where her mother is, right where she is. The divine is expressing in its fullness. I love how that is, and how treatment is really that first step. And then we have the human culinary. I love that God has a sense of humor. And that there is one. There's only one. So I want that one to speak through me now. So I know that God likes to have a sense of humor, so that's good. And Yogananda, so it's described this way, and I love it. It's from Ernest Holmes. He said, in the humanness, And when we realize our unity, we realize our oneness, and all the attributes of the one are found in each and every one of us. And Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda said this, that a drop, he said, we are like a drop of water in the ocean with all of the qualities of the ocean in us. Everything that God is, I am. Everything that God is, I am. Let's say that together. Everything that God is, I am. We are the great I am presence, right here and right now. And so this divine is nearer to you than your breath and your hands and feet. It is seeing through your eyes. It is breathing you. And so I want you to listen to the words of this poem that really, I feel, culminates this whole idea that we have to go within, we have to rise and shine. My dad used to wake me up every morning and he would say, rise and shine. We're here to rise and shine. So this poem is called The Answer is Inside. It was written by Barbara Blancett. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just listen to these words to see if you can truly look up or look within to the source of all and at all times. So here's the poem called The Answers Inside. So you've made some mistakes and you're down on the floor. Well, brush yourself off. Try a different door. You can't lay there sulking. Get a hold of yourself. There's work to be done. There's dust on the shelf. If you will at least get up on your knees, just making the effort gets rid of that quease. I hear this voice that's talking to me, but I don't see a thing. Tell me, who could it be? Then as I listen, I hear it again, but I don't see a thing. The voice says, it's me, your friend. Can't you remember when you were quite small? And you trusted me to not let you fall? Get up from the floor where you don't belong. Come on, grab hold and I'll help you along. Oh God, if there is one, I hear myself say. At the same time I wonder, is this how to pray? Oh God, please hear me and help me to stand. As I reach up, I feel its strong hand. Why did it turn from your voice for such length until I gave up since I had no more strength? Why did I wait till I was in such despair? Before I remembered, you always answer my prayer. There are so many lessons I've had to learn, but the most important is to know where to turn. When I felt all along, like one dish on the shelf, if I could have remembered, you were inside myself. I'm never without you, though at times turned away. Every time that I've listened, you've told me this way. So I'll keep my ears open to that one still small voice. I'll pay close attention when I'm making a choice. I'll allow you to guide me and show me the way. I'll listen inside me and I'll do as you say. I know that if I listen and allow you to guide, I won't feel so frightened. I won't have to hide. Just knowing you're in me, your power and your strength renews all my courage and strengthens my faith. To know that you're with me when I go for a walk, to know that there's someone with whom I can talk, to look at the challenges of each new day in a totally different and loving way. Turns all things around, everything is so bright. It sure does help when you look up within to that light. And so that is a wonderful poem that gives tribute to really acknowledging the importance of going within and up, to that lift up place, lifting ourselves up. And it was beautifully also said in a book that I was introduced to a couple weeks ago. It is not in print, so if you ask me for a copy, I don't have one. This book was published in 1932. It's a set of, I think, about 10 or 12 books from the Ascended Masters. And I've been using, or I wouldn't say using, used by or feel called to express with and as the Ascended Masters. They've been working as my guides for quite some time, and I'm very grateful for that. So this particular one I wanted to read you, because when I read this, it really reminds me so deeply and powerfully of the Science of Mind, said in a little bit different way. So see what you think of this, and if you can hear Dr. Holmes. Now, Dr. Holmes wrote Science of Mind in 1919 and published it in 1926. So this is 1932. So either they read his book and wrote this, or vice versa, or there is one power and one presence that permeates all life, and they both got the message. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here's what it says, and I love this. This is so powerful. The Ascended Master said, every individual is a God in embryo and can call forth limitless power to use for his or her advancement in any and all times. The cause of one's seeming slow pace of advancement. Anyone here have a slow pace of advancement? I have a slow pace of advancement. So the cause of one's seeming slow pace of advancement many times is because the student or individual is consciously or unconsciously looking for the manifestation rather than the joy of entering into the great heart of God. Isn't that beautifully said? If once the student truly understood this, it opens a new gateway to their growth and causes them to look entirely within themselves for everything. When was the last time you entirely looked within to the divine for everything? This inclination of the human or outer activity to continuously be looking outside yourself for something upon which to blame their own shortcomings. Anyone do that? Never. Okay, good. So blaming any circumstance, person, place, government, minister, or whatever. I'm just saying. For our shortcomings is the great stumbling block to the rapid progress of many. So anyway, in other words, we want to go within to the power and the presence of God. So I know that we've talked enough about that all month, and we've done that. So the second point for today, and we've talked briefly about that, and we're really going to practice it this week as we go into our meditation, is to give it up. Give it up. And when we come from that up place, Ernest Holmes is talking about giving up what is no longer serving our highest good. When we release any block to our highest good, people ask me all the time, this is one of the biggest questions I get, why hasn't this manifested? I would like to have this relationship, or I'd like to have this home, or I'd like to have this car, or I'd like to have this money, and it's not here yet. And they get really ticked off. So what happens when you get really ticked off if your manifestation's not there? You're not in joy, you're irritated, right? You get crabby. Anyone get crabby? Okay. So we want to shift that. We want to give up anything that stands in the way of that is blocking our good. And that's what we're going to do this morning. We're actually going to go into an exercise and do that. Holmes says that, he says it this way. We should give of ourselves in love and in service to others in a spirit of generosity and good fellowship. To refuse to give is to refuse to live. So we want to give up not only our stuff that's blocking us, but we want to be able to give to others. And who remembers Angelou? I can't remember her first name. What's her first name? Maya Angelou said this. She said, many people show up with two catcher mitts on. They have two catcher mitts, and they're trying to catch their good. She said, once in a while, you want to take one off and toss something back. You want to give it up. You want to give up your, instead of having two catchers, you want to just have one. So there's a constant flow of giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving, right? And that's what you talked about. I love that. And there is a great movie I tried to bring this morning to you. And if you want to know what it is, you can look it up. It's from Dr. Mark Broder, and he sent this video to me, and it was just so amazing. So we're looking for anyone who can figure out how to technically bring those movies so we can have these little clips of YouTube. We had quite an experience. One of our ministers had quite an experience this week trying to do that. So anyone who wants to volunteer would be great. So we've gone up by deepening and looking up, and by having an incredible lesson in giving up anything that stands in our way, which we will continue today and complete. And so I'm going to invite you this morning. I love this picture. I want to share with you my balloon story before we go into this final part of our day and actually literally giving up whatever stands in our way. So in my home in Medford, which was on a cul-de-sac, a giant balloon. Did I tell you this story about the giant balloon? A giant balloon. It wasn't a lot of balloons. It was one giant balloon. So I'm sitting in my room with my coffee, doing my meditation. I have my eyes closed, and all of a sudden, the whole room got brighter yellow, brighter, 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 brighter. The whole room is lit up, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I get out of bed and I open my curtain, and right, literally, smack in front of my house is the world's largest hot air balloon, bright, bright, bright yellow. I thought it was the sun shining. It was so bright, right? So I'm standing there in disbelief, thinking, because there's no wires or telephone cords or whatever you call them, telephone poles. So it lands right in front of my house, and I'm just in my pajamas. I'm transfixed watching this about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then 3 very attractive, very nice men get out of the balloon. I'm thinking, God, thank you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not. I gotta do something about that. And they gave the balloon rides to everyone in my neighborhood. My neighbor across the street had 5 children, and all of them are getting it. And I'm just running out. And by the time I got myself ready and put my hair and go out there, the balloon was gone. But anyway, that's true. This happened, and I've never had a balloon land so right in front of my house, like right at my door. And I'm just saying, thank you, God. What a gift. So anyway, I'll tell you my balloon story. Love that. And we have, I don't know if they do it here in Canada or in BC, but we have hot air balloon, they do, hot air balloon evening. And it's beautiful. And everyone comes out and watches, and everyone that flies these. And anyone here ever been in a hot air balloon? Did you like it?
Yes.
You really liked it? You did like it? Okay. So it's safe. I had someone call once and they wanted a wedding in a hot air balloon. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't do that wedding. Anyway, okay, so now what we're going to do right now is we're going to anchor ourselves in unconditional love. And is everyone here ready to let go of anything that stands in the way? So you can get up and let's hear you say yes.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, so we're going to play the wings, and we're going to go right into our meditation and treatment. I invite you all to put on your seatbelt. And just taking a moment to anchor ourselves in that beautiful, beautiful place of unconditional love. Just breathing in. I am aware that I am breathing in. And breathing out, I smile. Just allowing yourselves to deeply feel within your own heart, going within to that beautiful place of love. Feeling so safe and so connected right into your heart center. And I invite you to imagine yourself leaving this room in your mind's eye. Don't leave, but in your mind's eye, you're leaving this room. You're getting into your car, or if you took a bus, you get onto your bus, or if you're walking, you can walk. And you are arriving at an open field, a beautiful open field here in Kamloops. It is a beautiful, clear, sunny day. The sky is crystal clear blue, and the sun is shining warmly on The weather is absolutely perfect. And the field is filled with the fragrance of fall, this kind of earthly scent of fall. And as you arrive at this field, you notice that there is a hot air balloon not too far off in this field, not too far distance. And so you walk over to this balloon. It is a bright yellow balloon. And this balloon is fully filled with hot air. So it's really firmly filled with hot air. And such a beautiful color of yellow. And it is also tethered to the ground with 4 strong ropes tied to stakes in the ground. So it isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And as you step forward toward this balloon, in between you and the balloon is a big pile of stuff. And you ask yourself, what is impeding my ability to go in this balloon up, up, and away? Is it unforgiveness of self or another? Is it resistance? Is it inaccurate self-image? Is it guilt or shame or regret? Is it a belief in lack? You just stand there and you notice this big pile of, I call it resistance, but whatever you want to call it, stuff that is between you and the balloon. And whatever it is, you get an image of it right there between you and this balloon. You just notice it. And then very carefully you pick it up. No matter how big or yucky it is, you can pick it up and not get any of it on you. And you walk over and you place this big pile of stuff into the basket of the balloon. And again, no matter how big this pile is or how unwieldy it is, it fits into the basket perfectly. So all of that stuff, that resistance or that lack, the unforgiveness, the guilt, the shame, anything that stands between you and your highest good is now in the basket of the balloon. And so you walk over to the first tether and you untie that first tether. And then you walk over to the one opposite the first and you untie that tether. And you walk to the third tether and you untie that one, although it is a little difficult because there is a lot of resistance against it because the balloon wants to go up and up and up and away. But with a little effort, an extra effort, you get the third one untied. And then you walk over to the fourth and final tether. And this one is really hard to untie. But you do get it undone. And the balloon very swiftly lifts up. It just lifts up. It just lifts up and away and higher and higher and higher. And you stand there and you watch it beginning to crane your neck because it's going so high, up, up and away. And the wind picks up and it blows that bright yellow balloon filled with all of your stuff. It goes up. And now as you're looking way up, it begins moving very briskly, way, way far away from you. It's getting smaller and smaller in the distance. And pretty soon it is just a speck in the sky, in the crystal blue sky, just a little speck. And then you blink. And when you reopen your eyes in your mind's eye as you're in this meadow, in this field, the balloon is gone. It's completely gone. And you just stand there for a moment, a little bit shocked, but standing there and you take in a deep breath and you realize at the deepest level what has happened. You realize that what has stopped you from truly experiencing the divine wisdom and the freedom and the love and the joy and the peace and the abundance that lives within you, whatever has blocked you is now gone. It's gone away. It is literally gone. And you stand there and revel in the idea that with this impediment now gone, with this resistance now gone, with this unforgiveness or lack or limitation, whatever was holding you back, you realize that you can fully be who you came here to be. That indeed you are God in expression. You are that great I am presence. The name that God gave itself centuries and centuries ago. Who are you? The great I am, the I am. And you embrace your spiritual magnificence. And you feel it embodied in every cell of your body. And you feel light, and you feel joyful, and you are filled with a feeling of freedom and joy and love and peace and abundance. For that source of divine is you fully expressing. Nothing's in the way anymore. Nothing stands in the way of you expressing your spiritual magnificence. And so, in your mind's eye again, in this field, you look around, you notice the crystal blue sky, and you begin to walk away from this field that you were in. And you either get in your car and drive back to the Center for Spiritual Living, or you get on a bus that is conveniently there, or you walk back here to the center. And you feel yourself once again back here, seated in your chair, lighter, brighter, joyous, free, and abundant, filled with love and light. And just breathing that in and just realizing at a very deep level that you have just released everything that stands in the way of you receiving your heart's desire. And so with that in mind and in wonderful gratitude and full acceptance of that, you bring your awareness back, fully here now, and in deep gratitude. And we say together, and so it is.